Hey folks, it's Matt once again. Welcome back to another review for the Bill Paxton Marathon, and Navy SEALs! Which, yes, that's a take on the scene in Kevin Smith's film Clerks, which I love Clerks. Love a lot of Kevin Smith films. But I'll say this. If you remade Clerks today, that scene, it would be, yoga hosers! This film is better than anything Kevin Smith has done in the past 10 years because I maintain that the last good Kevin Smith film was Clerks 2 in 2006. From 2007 to now, in my opinion, he's made nothing. Most of them are pretty shit or eh. Navy SEALs is better than them. So, sadly, that's the. Anytime this movie's brought up, they always think of that scene from Clerks. And watching it again, it's not that bad of a film. It's not that bad of a movie. It's straightforward. It's well done action. Lewis Teague, the director, did a good job. Lewis Teague, if that name sounds familiar, he directed Alligator with Robert Forster, which I reviewed on my channel. That's a great movie. Cujo, Cat's Eye, which I enjoy those films. He did Collision Course with Jay Leno, Pat Morita, and Chris Sarandon. Yes, that is a real movie. And after this, Lewis Teague did not go on to do too much. And I know in the trivia on IMDb it says that Michael Biehn, this was the worst experience he ever had making a film. And I don't know why. I don't know what happened. I don't know what the deal is. Really, no one ever talks about Navy SEALs. And I'm not going to say it's one of my favorite films or, oh, wow, I fucking love it to death. But as I'm watching, I'm going, it kind of has this sort of bad reputation of being a horrible flick. I don't see it. I think this is a perfectly capable, decent action film. It has a good cast. The main stars, Charlie Sheen and Michael Biehn, I thought they both did a great job. Bill Paxton, he's in it for little bits. He's the sniper on the team, nicknamed God. He doesn't really have a lot of dialogue, so I wasn't sure if I was going to include this in the Bill Paxton marathon because he's barely in it. On the same way, I was going through his filmography and I'm going, well, I haven't reviewed that film yet. And Navy SEALs, pretty straightforward. They go in, they rescue these hostages. Charlie Sheen and Dennis Haysbert, both of them have worked on the film Major League together. They notice these Stinger missiles. They don't have time to go back and do anything with them. They gotta get the hostages out. And while they're back home, they're thinking about, what they need to do, what they should do, what they could do. They go on for a few missions. Some things go haywire. You have this little lovey-dovey stuff that I felt wasn't needed in the movie. This character, Joanne Whalley-Kilmer, Michael Biehn has a little lovey-dovey with her first to get some information on the bad guys, and they kind of fall in love, and then Charlie Sheen steps in and he tries to get in Joanne Whalley-Kilmer's pants, and yes, she was with Val Kilmer at the time. But that stuff doesn't really go anywhere. It's not the most interesting, and honestly, it could have been taken out of the flick and shorten the running time. But really, that's my only critique on it. The score by Sylvester LeVay, who I believe did the score to Cobra. Yeah, right there. He did the score to. I'm looking at my posters. Yeah, he did the score to Cobra. His score fits the film well. The action scenes are filmed competently. You get some nice explosive action set pieces. At the end, bazooka blowing up this armored vehicle with a big machine gun on it. An entire building gets blown up and collapses underneath. It's like the bottom part blows up and the top part collapses onto itself. Real practical effects, no CGI, no shaky cam. This is a time where that was nowhere on the horizon. which I miss that. The other people in the cast, like I said, you have Dennis Haysbert, Rick Rossovich, who was in Top Gun. I thought the cast worked fine. You had some nice pieces of dialogue. For example, when they're on their last run trying to get to the water to get in touch with their unit and a submarine that can pick them up. This guy's trying to get this rocket launcher going, and they're telling him, "Oh, you have one chance at this." And the guy goes, "What?" And Charlie Sheen goes, "You miss, we die." Charlie Sheen, he was having fun. His character's more of the, I was almost going to say, sort of hothead of the group, a little bit of renegade of the group. He's a guy who loves the rush of a gun battle, goes in head first. Michael Biehn is the leader of the Navy SEAL team. He's more the sensible one. If you're doing this for Bill Paxton, even on the back here it says Charlie Sheen, Michael Biehn, and Bill Paxton team up as 3 Navy commandos. Well, Bill Paxton's part of the team, but he doesn't say much dialogue, and he's in it sporadically throughout. And like most films with Bill Paxton, he does die in it. It's a common theme. But I thought it was filmed perfectly fine. I didn't notice any problems with it. I like the idea that first time we see Charlie Sheen, he's passed out on a beach, probably like real life. And you get these friends with Michael Biehn and Dennis Haysbert. They're off in this beach house, and Dennis Haysbert is ready to get married. And while they're driving off in the Jeep, Charlie Sheen goes, "Man, I can't be a part of this." It just jumps out of the Jeep, off the bridge, into the water, perfectly fine. And right in the middle of the wedding, they're called in on a mission. When the violence hits, there's some decent practical effects. For example, one of the hostages gets shot, and you see brains splatter on another guy's face. So not only do you get blood, but you get a little bit of that brain matter. It's like, ooh, shit, it's a little bit more visceral than I thought it would be. And when the SEAL team goes in and shoots, you get practical bloody squibs. I like the idea of Paxton's sniper codename is God, and you get to see him shoot some guys. He has one of those, I think it's 50 caliber sniper rifles that shoots right through the wall, and he clips like 2 guys right through a wall while using thermal. He has some nice gunplay. Charlie Sheen has a good sense of humor as his character. For example, when they find the stash of Stinger missiles, he's talking to Dennis Haysbert. Haysbert's asking, "What are you going to do?" "First, I'm going to do this." And he throws a grenade behind him. "Then, I'm going to do this." Puts the grenade right next to him in the Stinger missiles. And Haysbert's like, "Ah, you asshole!" And they hightail it and blow this stuff up. They don't get all of it, but they get some of it. There's one line I do like from Bill Paxton after the mission is done, and they ask Bill Paxton, "You engaged hostiles?" He's like, "No, I vaporized hostiles." I like that bit. And apparently this was changed from the script because there's going to be a volleyball scene a la Top Gun, but they changed it to this kind of quirky, fun, silly montage where Bon Jovi's The Boys Are Back in Town are playing, and they're playing golf on golf carts, just fucking with each other on golf carts and messing with each other's shot on the golf range. And that's a good sense of humor to it. I thought it was a bit fun. Messing with each other on golf carts. Charlie Sheen's car gets taken, so he gets this bicycle, jumps on the. It's one of those tow trucks, and he's able to maneuver and get the car off the tow truck without the guy noticing, and takes back his own car. Some nice stunt work in that sequence. Let's see. Yeah, the sequence where there's another moment where they get sneak onto the ship, and Charlie Sheen shoots one guy in the head. because he asked, the guy has a hostage and he's speaking, I forget what language it was, and Charlie Sheen's asking, what's he saying? Oh, he's talking about your mom. So he shoots the bad guy in the head and he goes, never talk about mom. And you get a little bit of the Navy SEAL training. You get a little aspect that Charlie Sheen's character can hold his breath for a long time underwater. For example, when Michael Biehn is showing Joanne, Kilmer around, Charlie Sheen's in a tank and presses his lips against the glass. And Michael Biehn goes, we better leave before he presses something else against the glass. So that's what I liked about it. I thought, for the most part, it went at a decent pace. The only thing I would take out is the lovey-dovey, almost love triangle between Michael Biehn, Charlie Sheen, and Joanne Kilmer. Honestly, Joanne's Kilmer, her entire character could have been cut out. Sometimes that kind of stuff is not needed. Maybe because they felt, well, Top Gun had a love story, so this had to have some type of love story. But not all of these kind of movies need a love story. I think in this instance, it wasn't needed. It could have just been concentrated on the team members, back and forth, their dialogue, their missions. So that's one aspect I didn't care for. But these two I thought worked very well. The rest of the cast, Rick Rosovich, Bill Paxton, Dennis Haysbert, they were all good. The score fit the film well. I thought it was a good score. The action scenes, it's R-rated. There's practical squibs when they used to be a thing. The action is shot competently. I mean, it's not James Cameron True Lies. It's not anything spectacular, but I thought they served the film perfectly fine. There's one moment where they skydive and parachute into the water. I think it's what you call a halo jump. And they're trying to get the CIA informant. And Dennis Haysbert says that he has it, but Charlie Sheen's a gun-ho guy, goes in guns a-blazing. And unfortunately, Dennis Haysbert gets killed because of his being gun-ho. Even later on, I thought Charlie Sheen did a good job. When Michael Biehn sort of pushes him, and Charlie Sheen says, you know what, I fucked up, and he's gone. There's not a damn thing I can do about it. And I thought that was a good scene that him and Michael Biehn had with each other. And the finale, they go to Beirut to try to get this bad guy who has these missiles and alright firefights. Paxton goes out in a blaze of glory. He's able to shoot two guys. One before he gets shot, and then even after a shot, he saves Michael Biehn by shooting another guy through a wall. Weirdly enough, Clerks would later reference this. As I watch the film, there is a Star Wars reference. Because Michael Biehn shoots someone and goes, it was a boring conversation anyway. Hey, we're going to have company. He says, Charlie Sheen says the same line Han Solo says in Star Wars. So I did not expect that there was a Star Wars reference in this. But yeah, if you ever see the film again in the third act, after Bill Paxton's character dies, and I think it's before Michael Biehn's character gets shot, yes, Charlie Sheen shoots someone. He goes, it was a boring conversation anyway. Come on, we're going to have company. I'm like, did he just reference Han Solo? That's pretty cool. But Charlie Sheen saves Michael Biehn. They blow up this real actual building which collapses on itself. They get in the car and avoid rockets, and they drive through this barricade, and they're chased by this tank with big guns, and their driver gets shot. Again, fucking brains splatter right on the windshield. So I was like, oh shit, didn't expect that bit of visceral gore. And the truck flips over, but Rick Rosovich is able to blow up the vehicle. I think it's him. Might have been someone else. And they get into the water and blow up the bad guy's boat. And Charlie Sheen, the bad guy, Sheen cuts his throat. Another aspect that maybe a little bit more with the third act, a little bit more firefights, or it was just sucked that Michael Biehn got, his character lives at least, but he got taken out of the action. So for most of the third act, he's sort of being carried and helped. Because as you watch the film, Michael Biehn's character, even though he's the leader of the team, he gets to do a couple things. Like before all shit hits the fan, a guy comes in, he's able to smack the guy down, and he shoots a couple people, but he doesn't do too much. I mean, between the two, Charlie Sheen is definitely the star of the film, and then Michael Biehn, again, even though he's the leader, he does a little bit of stuff, but would have been nice for them to give Michael Biehn more to do, action-wise, or body count-wise, or to not be so injured that he has to be carried over and he can't do much in the third act, like the last 15-20 minutes of the film. And maybe a little bit more action in the third act, but those are really my only three nitpicks. The big one is the love triangle between Sheen, Biehn, and Joanne Kilmer. But yeah, maybe a little bit more for Michael Biehn to do action-wise, which could follow a little bit more action in the finale. But yeah, Navy SEALs, despite its reputation, and looking on YouTube, apparently not many people have reviewed this. I found one other person who reviewed Navy SEALs. For some reason, for the years, and God, it's been over 2 decades. 1990 to 2000, 2000 to 2010, almost 3 decades since Navy SEALs. I feel old. I feel really, really old. Damn. 1990 to 2002. Shit. But what I was saying, it seems as if this has a bad rap. It's not as bad as his reputation. If it's a rainy night, which tonight was raining, almost the point I swear this whole place was going to flip over. For a rainy night, it's worth a watch. It's fun. It has some nice little one-liners, some nice bits of humor, competent action, competent direction by Lewis Teague, serviceable. No, I would say more than serviceable. It's a good score, fits the film well, good cast, and fun entertainment, popcorn entertainment. I'm not going to say it's one of the best, one of the greatest, but it's a pretty good film, especially for these two guys. Nice to see these two guys together. Thought they worked well with each other. One of the better Charlie Sheen roles. I mean, I really liked his character. Sort of that gun-ho type of character. Yeah. Had a lot of fun with Navy SEALs. So anyway, thanks for watching. Take care. And we'll see you in the next review in the Bill Paxton Marathon. Later.